Hey everybody, this is the Connection Experience with Dr. Shani, and I'm just going to share some thoughts today. I'm still struggling with my reaction to when they see us, the case of this Central Park 5, and I've been following some of the conversations online, and I know we're groups divided on this, and I totally get why I'm on the fence with everybody. I did choose to watch, and the first time I watched it, I had to take breaks. It was that impactful. And I chose to watch it a second time. I knew that I was emotionally invested the first time. The second time, I wanted to watch with different eyes, with more intention, and with the purpose of just learning and understanding my reaction to it and also what I wanted to take from it. I think that's important that when we take something in, that we are able to use it in some way. And it got me thinking a little bit about, one, the difference in my reaction to when I first learned of the case and then now watching it. Watching it is almost like secondary trauma. It's different. You know, you didn't go through it yourself, but when you see it like that, and the story was told beautifully, I thought it was done really well, but it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. And it is hard to kind of process what that feels like. And even some scenes I still can't really get out of my head. So one, we have to honor where we are with that. There are some people who are not ready to see it, and we need to respect their distance from it. And if they choose to watch it, hopefully they don't have PTSD from it later. I say secondary trauma because it can kind of haunt you. These stories are significant, and it never gets easier to hear or see. So the second time I watched it with different eyes, and it got me thinking a little bit about mental health and our relationship to our children and our community. In case someone's never described it before like this, mental health is not just about our thoughts and behaviors. It's also about, again, our relationships to ourselves, the people, and the world. So how we safely navigate that for ourselves in a healthy way, it matters. It matters in how we present ourselves, and it matters in how we take things in and how we learn to cope with things. And, you know, this story presents real material about how difficult it is to be a healthy human being in a world where you're treated like you're disposable. So it got me thinking about also our relationship to our children. And as parents or caregivers, we represent the very first relationships kids have in the world. Our relationship to them is the first modeling of how love and belonging is so important, of what that looks like. So for a child who is at home experiencing love and respect and all these things, their ego strength is a lot stronger, and they're able to go out into the world and project that onto the world, and they're able to wear that as armor into the world. But for a child who doesn't have that at home, is going out into a world that is not interested in protecting them, is not interested in showing them love and belonging. They're more interested in casting them out, rejection, creating biases, and really just trying to make sure that they aren't strong in their ego and aren't feeling valued and aren't feeling loved. And so that first representation of that comes from the home. So I think it's a huge thing for parents to be able to model that and pour that into our kids at all times. Kids don't care about how good we are at work. They don't care about the recognition we get from our jobs and our friends. They care about our presence. They care about us being there. They care about us being attentive, and they deserve respect, and they need love. So I often tell folks, our voice, the way we talk to our children, becomes their inner voice. So we have to monitor the way we speak to them and what we teach them, because that becomes their inner voice, and that becomes their armor and their friend and their partner and their parent and their guidance counselor when they're not with us. It matters. It matters. So one of the things that I think I'm going to take away is to just do more monitoring. There's nothing that prepares our children for this type of story better than love and acceptance and respect, and teaching them these lessons at home, self-respect. and knowing the difference between when you're treated well and when you're not treated well. If they're not treated well at home, they won't know the difference when they're out in the world. So treating them well at home and showing that and modeling that and honoring that lets them be more prepared for when they're not treated well outside of our safety, from our protection. So I think that's one thing I took away the second time, and I'm feeling it differently now as a parent than I think I would have if I wasn't, because I can't help but to imagine my kid going through those things and how I would protect them from that, because we can't protect them from everything, right? Especially once they leave our sight, we can't protect them from everything, but we can help them feel valued and make them feel that they are not disposable by showing them that first. So these are just some of my thoughts about that. And tough story. If you choose to watch it, great. If you don't choose it, let's be sensitive to those folks who aren't ready. And let's try to create more loving, accepting environments. Because there's so many different things that happen in that story. There's a lot of grieving. And even though they lived, there were a lot of deaths in that story. Deaths of their vision, deaths of what they thought their childhood was going to look like, deaths in what they saw their future looking like, death in their freedom, their innocence, just death of even the perception of the world. Who knows what that looked like before? Ugh. It was heavy. It was really, really heavy. So just keep in mind, nothing toughens people up the way love does. Okay? And we don't have to show them the worst at home to prepare them for the worst of what they're going to get outside of our home. We can start with something more gentler. I know we have a stigma about it. It feels like we're teaching them weakness and they're going to be too sensitive, and that's not going to prepare them for when they get out in the world. But you're wrong. Your strongest person is the one that knows they're valuable and knows how to respect themselves and knows that the other people's assessment of them doesn't make it true. Those are the strongest people, and the people who understand that they deserve more. We deserve respect just by breathing. So let's do that with our kids. Respect them because they're breathing. And even if they don't get it out there, they know they have a safe place to come back to. If that makes sense. All right. That's it. That's it for the day. I'm still processing. I'm still unpacking. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you later.